So I guess I will officially call the meeting to order. My name is Benny Guzman. I am the new chair of the Public Arts Commission. Yes. Oh, and sorry. I can't watch myself. And yeah, we'll just go around real quick. This is being recorded just so everybody knows. And just introduce yourselves if you want to actually.
Good evening, Saisha Bird, Commissioner of Parks, Recs, and Youth Programs.
Emmanuel Carter.
Maggie Levis.
Lisa Lambert.
Emma Rader.
Thank you all for being here tonight. Yes, so just so everybody on the commission is aware, and for anybody who's watching at home or watches the recording, tonight we do not have quorum, meaning that we can't vote on anything. We can't actually have official business. However, there are still things that we can discuss about. We do have this time and space. I don't want to take too much time because I do understand, like, if we're not voting on anything, we're not actually moving business forward. I don't want to spend, we're not spending an hour and a half, we're not spending 2 hours, but there are still things that I want to talk about. I know we haven't met in a while. This meeting even got pushed back due to Veterans Day. So I want to kind of start us off on a decent foot so that way we don't continue to drag behind. And then just going through the agenda, we've already done attendance. We do not have them. Do you have the minutes from the previous meeting?
I do not have them with me.
That's fine. I think either way we can't approve
vote on
them,
them.
so that doesn't matter. We do have a application, but again, however, because we can't vote, we've talked to the artist, Ali Walker, and they will be in December, in the December meeting for us to vote on.
So come through in December, please.
Yes. But yeah, on that note, I think kind of one of the first things that I wanted to talk about was quorum, talking about kind of the spaces we have on the commission. I think to start, we do have one open position. When Tina Sugiva left, that left one position open. Shaisha, I know you said you potentially have one. Do you know the situation there?
No, someone just sent me a recommendation for a new commissioner,
Okay.
so I'll review it. I'll, get the information. I don't know if it's an appointed position via the mayor or just a community position. I still got to talk to you all to understand who's appointed and who's not.
Yes, because from my understanding, and Emmanuel, you may know this better than I do because I've only learned this as I keep going. But then so if I remember correctly, it's about 5 artist positions and 6 non-artist positions. And if I don't know if this is true, but they are appointed differently. Some are appointed by the mayor, some are appointed by common council. I think that's something that we need to clarify and confirm. Because that's the other thing too, is determining who was appointed as an artist, who was appointed as a non-artist. Because I also think some of those roles overlap, especially arts educators, arts administrators. Like, many of us have an arts background. We just do administrative work or vice versa. And so clarifying who's under what position would just be beneficial for us to be aware of. The other thing too is term limits, because truth be told, I'm not sure what my term limit is. I think actually I go until 27 or 29. But if we can confirm that so everybody's on the same page of like how long you are actually on the term, when that ends, so that way too we can preemptively plan for that. I think we kind of knew Tina was stepping out, so we should have started to feel for, okay, who's going to step in kind of thing. And again, that's just kind of for us to think about moving forward. But I know that's probably somewhere in the back end of city government. And but yeah, if we can pull out those records, that would be really great. The other thing that I kind of want to discuss more is the issue with quorum, because we have had a lot of moments where, specifically this past year, where we haven't met quorum because individuals are not coming, And I understand too, like this is a volunteer position, nobody's getting paid. But it becomes still an issue where things cannot move forward. So I kind of wanted to just open up the discussion if people have thoughts, comments, feelings about what we could possibly do. I know that Shaisha, we may need to go to the city itself to say this is a policy or a procedure that we are proposing. But yeah, I'd rather open it up rather than like, this is what we're gonna do to kind of prevent this issue. Cause yeah, like Ali, we could have easily gotten if we had an additional commissioner here, but that just didn't happen. And I know, again, we're busy, but like, if this is a recurring thing, is there a way we can have commissioners step down? What do those policies look like? And so, yeah, I kind of want to just open up discussion to see if people had ideas, thoughts.
Or possibly having someone as a sub-position in for a voting, as like an alternate, possibly for some of it. If it's a standing person, if they're out several times, that we can have an alternate there that might not vote for the normal things, but if someone's out, that they can take that position on as an alternate voter as a possibility.
Not a bad idea. I mean, I think one of the reasons why and I could totally be wrong, but I think one of the reasons why, because it's what, an 11 seat
We have
total.
11 seats.
I think that was, they overshot the amount of people on the actual commission so much so that like in the event that half of them couldn't come, we still could vote on stuff. But it's getting to the point where like less than half are attending more often than not, myself included. So like I'm totally in that same boat. So I don't know that while I do like that idea a lot, I don't know that that is a possibility. It coordinates with the bylaws, but I do think there should be some sort of, well, I guess at least for me, like the timing of it was an issue. And we talked about this before when Anne was here too, like having like starting the conversation of like, can you come, can you not come, like that day. Like we did that for the forum and that really, really stunk a lot. Like because people, like so many people came with like proposals and ideas and stuff and we couldn't vote. That was like the most embarrassing thing. So if there was a way at least to start the conversation of, are you able to come sooner? I feel like that might be beneficial. I just don't know how the best way to do that.
That was something I was thinking about as well. This is like too loud. It's kind of making me crazy. Relatively new, and I was like, oh, like when are they going to message and ask if I can go or not? Because like, oh, I need to tell them I can't make this month or whatnot.
Right.
So I agree. I think, I don't know if like a new email chain every time, because then it gets like lost in the email.
That's
but
a good
like
idea.
one email chain like continuously can also get kind of crowded.
I think Tina's still on
yeah.
the one we're using.
Oh, really? So not
took
to
her off
propose
of
like a whole other thing, but maybe like a group chat that's a more flowing form of communication. But I don't know if that's an avenue that we're allowed to communicate on.
I think we would probably need to, for the group chat question, we would need to confirm because, again, I believe it would, if we are talking about Public Art Commission business, it has to be an open meeting law. We cannot have a group chat with all of us because then we're talking about it. It's a violation of open meeting law.
I
So
guess-
email is not like a violation?
She's
of that?
saying as just a reminder though.
That's,
Yeah,
again,
I
not
was
the
saying like
actual
just,
business.
hey guys,
Just-
the meeting's in 1 week, who can go? And then it just has like, all of our messages. But I do get what you're saying. If you have a group chat,
Not
it might
actually talking
open
about any
people.
issues.
yeah.
But just having that avenue open might people be, oh, well, what's on the agenda this time? Oh, I was confused. I thought about this. And then all of a sudden people are discussing it. And that would
Can I
be an
chime in?
issue, I see.
The meetings are set a year in advance. What I would recommend is commissioners put them on their schedules. This one was different because Veterans Day landed last week. But like all my meetings, and everybody doesn't use Outlook or Google, or maybe they use a paper calendar. But asking the commission, what's the best way you all communicate? Is it January, December, we give you this paper that says, hey, here's all the meeting dates. Please put them on your calendar. And then you have them, and maybe even I can send meeting requests to tag onto your calendar so they just pop up on your digital calendar if you use digital calendars.
Bad idea.
And I'm also wondering if we, as a group, determine some sort of limit as to like, can you let us know by EOB the day on Monday that if you're not able to come, like, obviously, emergencies barring, like, everyone
Yeah,
has, like, life happens, you get a car accident, whatever, kids get sick. But I think that feels fair, because just thinking about Ally tonight, like, getting, you know what I mean, like, it just kind of stinks for her, too. So, do you think the end of business before the day before is a good enough time frame, or?
I was going to suggest a week before.
Yeah,
Because
I
if you
think a
have the
day is
whole
hard,
year of the meetings, then hopefully by the week prior, you
Girl, we
can
got an hour,
can
so.
know.
By the way,
But you
thank
know,
you.
if there's an emergency.
Thank you for
what can
today,
you do?
because truly, it did slip my mind, and I went, and oh, okay.
For sure, absolutely. And that happens.
Yeah, because my schedule gets so crazy with everything I'm doing.
Right.
That it totally slipped my mind.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I couldn't fit it in, but it was like, oh, okay, thank you for reminding me. Because
So
of,
I'd like to suggest a couple things. One is that as we bring new members on, I think it's important that we make it clear that this is a function of local government, okay? We're not a club or a few friends getting together. We're here to advance things that need to be done, that need to be approved or not by local government. It's a government function. So that as people are invited onto the commission, I think it needs to be clear to them, this is not an honor or again, a friendly gesture. Your presence is really tied to whether or not this commission can function as an arm of local government. I think the other thing is I'm on the Central New York Regional Planning Board, and they send us probably 2 or 3 times a year as a reminder, the list of all the meeting dates, okay? And sometimes some of the big upcoming issues that'll be on the table in one or more of those dates. And, you know, you just got to remember that it's, you know, if this is the second or the third, I guess it's the second Tuesday of the month. You know, if you're committed to doing this, it's the second Tuesday of the month. Unless, again, you know, your car breaks down or got to take a kid to the hospital or something.
Yeah, and I think too, we can all agree that like we understand life happens, emergency happens, but to your point, Emmanuel, like this is a form of local government. We are moving things forward. We are a part of that process. So if commissioners are unable to hold that responsibility, that's an issue overall.
you're also taking an oath when you're signing up to do this. You are taking an oath that you are going to be here. And that you are, I mean, that's why they have you take the oath, is to make it truly know that it's important. And that you're honoring this commitment that you're making.
So right now, there's, is there like do we track, you know, how many absences or anything? I assume not.
As of right now, no. I think again, this is something that like, it's been more of like even, I don't think before this year, it really wasn't as much of an issue. This year in particular, it's been significantly like more consistent. And again, I don't know if it's life, you know, things get crazy, just who's on the commission. And I will say too, like for me in particular, like I know this past year I wasn't as consistent because I was also completing grad school. So like I had classes on Tuesday from 5:30 to 7:30, which is the exact time. So I understand that like just circumstances happen. However, I think I'm bringing up this conversation so we can plan and develop something so that we all can be held accountable to that as well. Like if this is what we're going to do, and again too, I'm bringing it up in this discussion so that when we have quorum, we can propose, this is something that we have discussed already, open to other people who were not in that conversation to provide feedback, insight, etc. But then that way we can officially, like, I don't want to drag out, like, let's not have this conversation because we don't have quorum, because it needs to happen.
Agreed.
One other thing, and I don't know if we can do this, but with the Regional Planning Board, because it's 5 counties, there are certain people who can attend by Zoom. Okay? So we'll have a situation where we've got people from 5 counties all around this big table, there might be 4 people on a screen, just because, again, it isn't that they can't make the meeting, it's they don't have the time to drive to Syracuse.
right.
Right.
So they participate from where they are.
Sure.
And as a result of that, we have not had any problem with quorum.
Right.
Most of the people, we meet like, what is it, 1 to 2:30. That's the official time of the meeting, and it's every 6 weeks. And the constant reminders of the dates is important because it isn't like the second Tuesday of the month or something like that.
Right.
It's every 6 weeks, so it's an odd spread. But people do know that if for any reason they can't get from, the city of Oneida over to here in time for a meeting, that they can
Zoom in.
They can zoom in, and that participation is considered legal, and they can vote from that location.
I will say if that were an option, I would have been able to attend the last 2 meetings. If that were an option, if the Zoom was an option, I would have been able to attend, through Zoom the last 2 meetings, because I was I'm physically on the road. So I could have just gotten it on my phone and just gone for it. So if that was something we could, I remember having this conversation before and hearing that we had to be here in person, but I don't know how legit that was.
I think we can
I'll
look
find
into
out.
that. Because that's the thing is, I think
We do have the technology.
that's the thing is, and I think so I think realistically too, the part of the reason also I want to push for this meeting is this is my first official meeting as chair. Thank you. But also this is one of the first, or not the first, but we still don't have a public arts coordinator. And so that is something else that we need to kind of be prepared for, of if we're having a public arts coordinator come in, what is their role? What is their responsibility? What are some of those things? How do they fit into this equation as well?
What's the expectation on
What are the
both sides?
because I think that's realistically, we've had a significant shift in this past year, not in a negative way, it's just a shift. And so kind of stabilizing ourselves, making sure that everybody's on the same page of these are expectations, these are things that we want to do moving forward, I think is important for us.
I think to that point, so aren't we, I thought I had read somewhere, are we only required to have 6 meetings a year?
I believe so.
Because if attendance is an issue, I'm wondering, if we're only required to have 6 meetings a year, depending upon applications, or
Yes.
present applications,
Yes.
then do we really have to meet every month? Is that, you know what I mean? Obviously during the summer, that's really when we started to take a hit, because everyone was traveling, vacations, whatever, you know what I mean?
But then summer is when everybody wants to do things.
But that's exactly it. So
Yeah.
that's where the quorum issue really started to pop up, is because we were getting applications heavier in the summertime, in the warmer months than we were, but nobody rolled through because everyone was chilling. Right. So,
Well, if it's less people, in January, there's nothing on board for January I know something's for December, this will be, but that we could take a month off and just say, okay, we don't have nothing, stay in, block yourself from the weather, whatever it is.
get cozy, right?
But know that we're gonna be calling on you in those other areas, times.
So there's that. So that's the amount of meetings per year. And then also, do we really want to be and I'm not mad at this, but this is just a question. Do we really want to be as firm to be of those, let's say we determine 6 is the minimum. Let's say we determine we want to do at 10 a year, right? If you can't commit to attending 8 of those 10 or something like that, then maybe you should reconsider your membership, or whatever. And I don't want to be too much of a hard ass about it, but if that's really what we're talking about, do we want to set numbers or talk about numbers like that?
That's something that I definitely think we should, just because it puts it firm, it puts it in writing, and it's also something less, it's less ephemeral. It's straight up 10. Can you show up to
Numbers don't have an opinion.
Exactly. If we, and I would even say a minimum of 6, because that's saying that you can attend the minimum required meetings that we need to have as a commission.
I'm not mad at that.
And again, maybe we can, Shaisha, just confirm we are required
If
to.
that's okay,
If we
right?
have 6, and then again, if someone is not able to commit to those 6, either reconsidering or again, on the other half, because life happens, things, you get a big project in a year that takes up a lot of time, and it happens to be on the Tuesdays. Just a pin in that real quick, we are not required to have Tuesday meetings. I think that was a date that we established a while back, and we haven't relooked at that. So just another option. We can talk about that a little later. But again, if you are saying you're going to do it, and then for some reason this year you are booked, you're busy, you're blessed, booked and busy, like, what is our protocol for having either someone step in, step out? Like, I
Who do
think,
they contact in the event of emergency? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you did get into a car accident on your way over here, God help you. Like, who do you text? Do you call? Is there like because obviously, like, I mean, even when you sent that email, I was closing up shop and I didn't see it until like 10 minutes, you know what I mean? Until I was about to leave, which is totally, and that's totally fine.
I did send an email last week postponing the meeting saying we would meet
Correct.
this day,
Absolutely.
and I know Emmanuel
Yeah,
responded like, I'll be there.
Yeah. I think I did. I was able to do that too, which is awesome. But like, I guess if I had gotten into a car accident on my way over, do I text you? Do I call you? Do I call Saisha? Do I, you know what I mean? Like, who do we reach out to in the event that we're not able to?
Yeah.
So I guess, I don't know.
No, I think, again, these are questions.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to have an answer yet. And again, we cannot officially vote and say, like, this is what we're doing.
Sure.
So these are things that we can bring up at our next meeting with quorum.
Yep.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, comments?
As far as the public art coordinator position,
Yes.
I'm just waiting for it to be posted so that we could get candidates so we can interview.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
If I can just add
Yeah.
that I think also we need to clarify the relationship of the commission to the public art coordinator.
Yes.
If the planning board, for example, there's the planning board and then there is staff, okay? Staff reports to their director or commissioner,
Yes.
okay? I think we were trying to slide to where we were having the commission manage the daily work of the art coordinator, which I think is not the way city departments work, okay? And so we need to be comfortable with that.
Yeah.
At the same time, although our meetings, the need for a quorum is partly to vote, we also need to have a critical mass of the commission available for meetings when perhaps the public art coordinator is talking to us about things that they're doing through the Parks Department
Yes.
to advance projects.
Yeah.
So we have rarely had meetings where, at least since I've been on it, we've rarely had meetings where the coordinator actually gets to talk to the commission about, well, I'm working on blah, 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 and want to let you know that this is where we are, and
Yeah.
we might need a little more of this, or whatever their issues may be. But we also need as a quorum to be able to receive information.
Yeah, for sure. No, and I think that's something that, and Shaish and you and I kind of briefly discussed this, like the interplay between the Public Arts Commission, the Public Arts Coordinator, and parks in general, what that could look like, what that could mean. Because I do think, again, this first year was the first time there's been a Public Arts Coordinator. And then also to, Commissioner, you are new in this position as well, so like there's a lot of learning curves across the board. There was just a lot of new, that's just the truth. This past year, there was a lot of new. So fine tuning what those things look like, what those mean. Because I do think too, like understanding, I think there was maybe confusion on what the public arts coordinator role was in relation to this and how we kind of work together. Because in some ways, their primary job is still parks.
It is.
So what does that look like from our perspective? Because that's the thing is if they're related, but they're not the same thing. They may be like cousins, but they're not like in the same household. It's just the truth,
That's
you know?
right.
And so
Yeah.
what does that look like? Because I do think kind of talking about kind of future ideals, let's talk about something positive for a little bit. But like I would love to see more public arts in the park and what that looks like. what does that mean beyond just kind of like the physical, tangible things, but also performance as well. Because that's something that we've talked about as the Public Arts Commission is like, and again, not to discredit any of the muralists. We love the muralists. We love that those projects are happening.
We're up to our nose in murals.
But there's also like only so many there's so many wall spaces. What else can we do? What else can we leverage?
And also, to be aware also that TNT, we have allowed for $2,000 for each section of the city towards the arts. And it's not always being used.
Per
as-
neighborhood.
Per neighbor, yeah, per
Per sector.
section and stuff. So having that relationship to say, you know what? We'd really like to have this thing. Would you guys have the money to help us get the
Right.
funds to have you, some
Yeah.
event?
Like a dance performance in the
dance
park, a
performance,
play,
music or something.
poetry,
Absolutely.
music.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I mean, we don't know, trying to connect the different things, where the funding are to connect the events and the community. And that's a big thing that we need to navigate and try, even with the schools, navigate those events and stuff.
And that's a role that the public art coordinator could play.
Yeah. Is helping
Making
to
those
navigate.
connections.
Well, and I think that that was a big source of confusion, at least for me, because I'm still relatively new. I mean, I think what I'm on, this is just about the first year that I've done this. And a huge part of the conversation when I first started was the $35,000 in the capital improvement fund. And it's like this mystical, magical number that like we had access to, but did we? Do we? Don't we? And it like, it was this, it was a constant source of like confusion, at least for me, because I'm like, well, hold on a second. Like, do we have the cash or do we not have the cash? Like, we either have it or we don't.
And so the confusion is, A, it's not cash, B, it is capital planning money, and it is parks money. I can get you more information on that, but it's not like accessible cash we can just go spend. It's very specific.
So do you, just real quickly, do you like a specific in what capacity? Like what could that be spent on?
You could have moved the sculpture with it. You could have placed the sculpture with it. It's larger capital projects. I can bring you a description.
That'd be cool.
There's a
That'd be really
specific
cool.
description for the money.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because
And it was actually it was put in the plan by, obviously by the city, but at a request, Josh Wilcox was working with our with the public art coordinator to ensure that there was some money to do some
right.
big, larger project with.
Cool.
No, because I think it's again it's also again the public art coordinator, and also I think us understanding what that looks like as well, because and again I understand how like I do arts administration. I understand how like things get crossed, things people don't always talk to. Not everybody knows kind of the behind the scenes detail. However, for us to all be aware of what's going on, so we can support those initiatives too. That way we can say, okay, well, there's this artist, there's this thing that we want to support. Because too, what happens is, and again, kind of jumping ship, but I feel like they're all connected with the application process. How do we go about streamlining that a little bit? Making sure that artists understand what that looks like, making sure that organizations, nonprofits, 501c3s, the schools understand what that looks like.
And also, if I could just real quick, sorry. If I could, while I can appreciate that the public art coordinator's primary function is a Parks Department employee, there is still a level of expectation in regards to communicating with the public that I think that we struggled with a little bit in the last year as well. Just because things were kind of so all over the place that people, were either submitting things or they weren't, it just seemed like that there was a lot. I think a moral of the story, just expectation for us, expectation for the public arts coordinator, realistic expectations, I guess, would be very helpful so that people aren't getting upset, or if they are frustrated for something, we'll be able to, on the ready, be like, well, listen, here's the jam. Like, I can appreciate your frustration, but like, this is the deal. You know what I mean?
Do we have anyone looking into like grants and stuff that we could use as funding for, say, our commission sees something that we would like done, like that as a possibility?
I guess I question, and I have to do more education, is that the role of the art commission? Is that the role of the public art coordinator to seek, grant opportunities, put it out to the broader artist world? Or is that the work of the commission? I think we have to discuss what is the role of the art commission. Is it just approving, you know, looking at art? Not just, that's a big job to approve a large mural in this community that community wants to see, wants to be a part of, wants to take place. Is it getting that information out into the world? Is it seeking and finding funding for the actual commission or for artists that want to do the work?
Well, if I could, I guess, again, just being kind of a newbie still, I feel like that was a huge source of confusion because, again, it was just like roles and expectations kind of all over again, right? And it's like, there's a lot of things that I would love to be able to do. There's a lot of like, you know, there's tons of grant opportunities, there's tons of coordination, there's tons of events that we could be tabling, there's tons of different forums and meetings that we could be holding, there's tons of festivals and stuff that we could be attending or advertise or help propagating or all of these things. But I think there was a lot of confusion as to whose job was what, and I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know if I've ever felt comfortable saying like, well, I'll just do it. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to upset anybody, or you know what I mean? And I didn't want to like step on anyone's toes. I also don't know the bylaws and the like legislation well enough to be able to like, am I allowed to do this? Is this permissible?
I think what we should plan, everybody has jobs, but maybe a few hours where we have like art commission, art coordinator 101, where we go through bylaws again.
That would be incredible.
We read through everything. We read description of the art commission, description of the ordinance for the art commission, so that we clearly all understand both.
That's a really great idea.
rules.
I'm here for that for sure.
No, and I think, so going, because from what I understand, in terms of the fundraising part, I don't think we can, because we're not official 501c3, we're an ordinance. So any funding would go through the city, which is a whole, like, I don't even want to, we're not even going to get into that, because that's
That's a headache and a
that's
half.
a bigger beast than I want to even think about potentially doing.
But we need to remember that we could also do things through the Syracuse Parks Conservancy.
Yes, which is, I
And
think,
they're willing to work with
Yeah.
us.
Right.
okay, so, but again, to like understanding what those relationships look like, and what are the expectations and responsibilities of that.
Like I
But
had
even
heard of
also
the
offering, having people have a list saying that these are places that you can maybe go to find grant money.
we have that.
Yes.
Is that more even for some of these artists or people who come up with ideas that would like to present it?
Yes.
Just to help them a little bit.
Yeah, I think that is part of what our role could be.
Connecting.
Maybe it's not necessarily what I think we've wanted to do that. Have we been as successful? I don't know. It's hard to kind of measure what that looks like. But I think that could be something that, again, talking about roles, responsibilities of the commission, of the coordinator, how does that fall under, like, whose purview does that fall under? In which way do we support the work of the coordinator, the work of parks, the work of the conservator as well? Like, how do those things all kind of interplay together? And I think, again, kind of jumping ship, but related, I think this all comes down especially to the welcome packet. Like, what are those expectations and responsibilities of this person, both on the commission, but also for, I think, the public art coordinator to understand what the role of the commission is in terms of that. Because I think, again, they're connected in some way. Like, the public arts coordinator is connected to the commission in some way.
So Benny, you just gave yourself homework, and the commission too. I think we need to read through what was developed
Yes.
and make edits to it so that if we welcome in a couple weeks a new commissioner,
Yes.
that we're prepared, whoever's in charge of doing the welcome is prepared to utilize that information to properly welcome
Well, I
someone
think
on.
one of the reasons that we developed the task forces is because a lot of the information that had been issued was either inaccurate or out of date or not applicable. Like, so like the master plan, for example, it's very long and very flowery and it's fine, but I mean, a lot of the stuff is very outdated. And so even if we did sit down and review the information that we've already been issued, I'm not entirely confident that it's still applicable for a lot of the things that we discuss. And as such, like, that was one of the things that we started doing when I first started, was trying to review and get some of those changes made, like, more
Yes.
permanently.
No, and I think too, possibly and I'll say this publicly, I think maybe the master plan needs to be put aside for now and start.
Oh, no.
Start fresh.
But specifically talking about like because the master plan is not a legal thing.
No, it's not, but it does help kind of outline at least what we're, and maybe it doesn't have to be called the master plan, but developing some sort of outline that like clearly determines the role of the public arts coordinator as it applies to the commission. And I also think that we should end in there the artist responsibilities too. Not just with like the application process, but like, I mean, as far as insurance is concerned and like, you know, like the FAQ stuff, some of that was in some of the documents that we had created before,
yes.
but it's not all in the same place.
No, for
if
sure.
that makes sense.
No, I agree. And I think part of what we can do is let's see what is officially like legally on the books, start from there, and then pick those pieces from the master. Because I do think, I agree with you. Like, I think there's a lot of things that like, these are ideas that we've had, these are conversations we've had. But how do we kind of formalize what that looks like? And again, too, like if that means us going to, or even if it's just me going to the mayor's office and be like, hey, this is what we need, or common council say, hey, this is what we need. Can we get this approved so that the commission is fine and dandy and that it's in legal writing?
Right.
So there's no confusion. We can't be like, oh, well, this person said this and this person said this.
Right.
Nope, this is what the law says.
Yep.
And again, I know that's a lofty process too. It's not like we call tomorrow and like it's all set and done.
But I think on some of the stuff, it probably wasn't as complicated, you know what I mean? Because, I don't know, I feel like some of it could be simple. You know what I mean? If we just have to, gotta do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that we want to have, again, as a person who's been a city planner for 51 years, what I've seen, not only here across the United States, but even in other countries, that you'll have a planning board, and then there's planning staff, and then there are projects that staff generates, and there are projects that developers generate.
Right.
Everything the developers generate, the board has to say yes or no to. Things that the staff generates are run through the board as well, although the board usually has some sense of what staff's trying to do.
Right.
And often staff and the board kind of agree before a formal meeting about those things. And so I think if we can develop that kind of agility that
Well, then you know what? I'm wondering if that's, and I completely agree. And if that's the case, then I'm wondering if this is a great time to elect a secretary. Because if staff is going to be relegated specifically, do we have a secretary?
Yes, Takara.
She is the secretary?
Officially, she is the secretary.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
she's rarely.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so then maybe we reevaluate or have that conversation, because if the coordinator is going to be relegated and their primary function is going to be a parks employee, then that's perfect and great, and that's a heck of a job, and may the Lord bless and keep you, that's a lot to do.
Yeah.
But if they're not going to be able to, I don't know, I guess if we're not going to be able to accomplish the things that we as a commission want to accomplish, because that position isn't available to us as often as we might need or require, whatever, then that's where that secretary person, I think, probably would come into play. Am I wrong?
No, I think that, yeah.
Well, yeah, at least in my observation is what usually happens is the chair
Yeah.
is the liaison with the department.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the things we have to keep in mind, I think we who are all here tonight get it, that we don't have, most of you have day jobs, okay? I'm retired, which is a new condition for me.
Condition.
But
That's a good choice. That's a really great choice of
and
word.
it is a condition, yes, believe me. But usually in cities around the world, the board is not in a position to manage projects.
Yes.
You know, it's all you can do to get through your daily lives on your day jobs and with your families. So we need to, what we really need to do is to have a relationship with parks in which we have faith that the Parks Department does things in good faith.
Yes.
Okay? And comes to us for approval of specific defined projects. If they're outside, in other words, if they're artist generated, then they do the applications and they come to us and we say yes or no. Traditionally, we've almost always said yes, okay?
I was going to ask if we've ever denied anybody.
Hardly ever.
Oh, yeah.
Hardly ever. If they're generated in-house at parks, and keep in mind, a lot of things Parks does are also in coordination with planning and public works.
Right.
Okay, so in our meetings, we probably need a line item in each of our meeting on the agendas that, what's going on at parks.
Like public coordinator report.
Yeah.
We were
okay.
getting that we were getting that, and that was at the end of our packet. Almost, I mean, the last few meetings that I went to, that she was in there, she was doing
There was a
that,
few,
so,
reports.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do agree with you. I think there maybe could be a deeper connection of like the commissioner with not the commission. Yeah, the commission with parks, the public art coordinator. I
agree.
And I think too, it could be, because I think it could be both chair and vice chair. That way it's an equal distribution of power. It's not just like, well, you don't want this, I want this. There's a third person mitigating that at all times. Look at that, 3 branches of government. That works. No, but I think realistically, so it's like, this is not necessarily just about personalities, egos. I want to do this project, I want to do this project. It's like, what are the commission and how does that play out? Because that's the thing too. It's also about then taking that information to the rest of the commission to then also distribute to public as well. Because I think that's part of the conversation as well. How do all those things kind of interact?
and
With the regional planning board, if commissioners have an idea of something they want, then we have to say, okay, the folks at Cayuga County Planning, do you have the staff skill sets to do this?
Right.
Do you have the staff time to do this? And is there a budget for this? So if we want to advance something that is going to take some time, then maybe the first issue is, does this look like something we all want to move forward with? Right. Secondly, do we have to get the money, or is the money already somewhere in place?
Sure.
All right. And then on a day-to-day basis, it's professional staff that makes the thing happen.
Is it forward?
Okay?
Yes.
And so, but that doesn't mean that we cannot generate ideas from the commission too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Or volunteer here and there when you have the time.
Well, that's what I was
If
kind of
it
going to
was like
say.
a mural that park, maybe an idea, for example, came from you all, and you're like, we really want this thing. The public art coordinator is like, yeah, we would love this thing too. I'll work on the back end to get it going, but hey, this thing is happening on Monday, this date. You're invited. Like, be there, volunteer, pitch in. But again, you work full-time jobs, right? Some of us aren't so lucky to be retired. It's hard to manage a large project or a project when most of your life is working, or like for me, it's kids. And
Right.
so we never want to put that pressure on you all.
And I can definitely appreciate that, but I guess I will say, having been, this is probably the 3rd or 4th board that I've been on, and this is the least amount of work that's been asked of me on any of those boards I've ever been on in my life. And I guess if we're talking about really reevaluating the relationships we have, not just with arts, or parks, or also with the arts coordinator, but also I think like there's no reason why we can't have homework. There's no reason why we can't sign up for stuff. There's no reason, and I guess I would be really excited about those opportunities. Like, yeah, we're busy, we're all busy, but like, we're busy.
And I'll say,
it's going to be fine.
I serve on 3
Yeah.
professional boards.
Right.
I don't
get it.
get much work. When I want work, I sign up for a committee. So I'm on the board. The board is the board, right? I meet every month.
Right.
I wanted more out of one of them, so I signed up for 2 different committees. So now I'm out doing things when I can, but I didn't do it on all 3 because it would be overbearing. But
much, right.
creating these task force or these committees is one of those ways.
Yeah, I think so too.
I had a question actually about the task forces that were listed in the welcome packet. Are those active?
Ish.
Okay.
Ish is they're active in the sense of they have been talked about and exist. I think part of also what it came down to was open meeting law, and then we can only have 2 individuals working on a single task force at a time. And again, to quorum not being always available, so if the 2 do not always link up, things fall behind in that task force, or it comes down to kind of one person.
2 individuals from the commission but could it be, can you recruit from outside?
Yes, so that is the other
build
part
it.
too, is discussing, I think realistically, we need to clean up house first before we start inviting people in.
I agree.
So I agree, I think, and maybe to the task force, because I was thinking about some of the, I'm in like the social media communications. I'm thinking we might even just get rid of that, because realistically, this is also, it's not our stuff, it is the city's social media account, it's the city's website. And so there's legally, ethically things that we cannot do. That again, like that could even just be reduced to one person's task. Or it could be something where, we figure out a way in which parks could possibly help out with that. Because again, that's a city thing. It's not necessarily us. Because I took the training and I understand why some of those things are the policies for like running the Facebook and Instagram, but a lot of those come down to legal, what the law is, in terms of like what is posted, what's not posted, how do we keep track of that? There's a lot of legal things behind there that we have to keep in mind of. And again, if you don't do like internet law, you don't know these things. And so it can become like, it's a training process and a learning curve. And so again, that's a very specific example, but like even thinking about the master plan, if we're going to kind of maybe blow it up or kind of take parts and bits of it, maybe we don't need that task force and we can kind of develop a different task force that does other things. Maybe too, there needs to be a parks task force, because now that we are under parks, maybe we have a task force that specifically focuses on like what are the things we're doing with parks, how are we developing those relationships, et cetera, et cetera. Again, these are all like, I think
Like structural review, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're at an interesting new juncture. So we have the possibility to imagine, but we kind of have to clean up house and see where the parts are, so that way we can really put things together the way we want to. I do also, because I know we're getting close to an hour and I don't want to keep y'all too long. Shaisha, what is your role? Because as of right now, we do not have a public arts coordinator. So you are really our only connection to the city. So but I also want to be aware that you're a director. So like you have a whole portfolio kind of underneath you. So I kind of wanted to ask like, how do you want your role to be? What would make most sense for you to like not overburden you? Because again, too, like I understand you have a lot of other things going on, and I don't want us to all have to be like, Shaisha, like this is going on. Like what would you think would make the most sense for you?
Well, I think what's happening right now, like typically I communicate with you if I need anything from other commissioners. I send an email. I will invite folks to be in the interviews with whoever applies for the public art coordinator. So I would ask that you all play a role in that. And I've talked to a few folks about it that may be available because they're maybe retired. So that's one part. I have no problem tonight stepping into a meeting until we hire that public art coordinator. I want to be supportive. I want to make sure that folks like Allie gets her applications, presented and through. And, although I'm not an artist, I'm a crocheter. I'm a fiber artist. So I am a part of your world mostly. And I was always artsy as a kid, but I really support the arts and feel like Syracuse is coming alive with all the art that has come about in our city lately. And it's beautiful to ride by a mural or a ground painting or a light pole box or and just see color again, specifically on days where it's gloomy. So yeah, I know I'm a commissioner of parks. I have a lot under my belt, but I will also make time to be supportive until we can bring. And not even when we bring on the public art coordinator, I will still be a presence. I am that person's supervisor. So whoever comes on, I directly supervise them. So.
No, and again, it was more just making sure that we're
I don't
not
want to drive you crazy.
Yeah, we're not gonna throw everything at you, but just understanding of
I drive her crazy anyway, so it's okay. That's a normal thing.
No, that's true. But that's the thing, is like just being mindful of what can we expect, what can we not expect. So that way, like moving forward, we just know like, okay, this is where we're at. And especially to just more right now because there is not a coordinator. If we had a coordinator, it'd be a different situation. I totally understand.
Continue to communicate with me. My goal is to get a public arts coordinator hired as soon as the job is posted. When that job gets part of we have a job description. We might have some edits to it, or we had some edits to it just to improve the position. As soon as that gets posted, I will let the commission know that it's posted. We'll get interviews in. We'll make sure we get that person hired. And then we'll move on from there. I will always probably attend a few meetings. I won't be at every one of them when they're hired, but I will be here when I can be here and as supportive as I can to the commission, so. Yep.
Yes. Again, I'm just trying to be mindful of time. But any other things that people want to discuss, bring up, any confusion, questions?
I guess I would ask if one of the things that, it's a little bit of a pet peeve, my boss does it to me all the time, is that we have to have 11 conversations about one thing before we can make a decision. Yes. And while I can appreciate that this is a public setting and we're volunteers and, and everyone's got, but I guess, so tonight we talked about really important things, which I think was really awesome. And I've jotted down some specific ideas. What is our plan, or what are some ideas for a plan for our next meeting to like solidify these things that we've discussed and like keep it pushing?
Yeah, that was my next.
Okay, sorry.
So
Thank you.
because I know that I want to confirm, one, commissioners in general, like who's on it, who's in what role, see if we can get that 11th person. There was so much.
Oh, I have it all.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, term limits,
I have it all here. Term
attendance.
limits.
Yes, term limits. Look and see like the ordinance to see if there's ways in which we can adjust what term limits look like, how that looks like.
The number of meetings.
Number of meetings for sure.
Day of the week.
Day of the week, Zoom potential.
Zoom potential. Day of the week, I know that we can change
Yep.
because I think we would just need to vote on it here to adjust it. And as long as, from what I understand, the only kind of requirement is that we have to announce it a month in advance. We can't just be like, oh, like, yeah.
And at this point, until we hire a public art coordinator, I don't mind being the emergency contact. So I'll send everybody, I mean, you have my email.
Yes.
I don't think you have my phone number, but.
Okay. I think those are kind of the core things. And I think too, what we can plan for next meeting, once we have some of this information, get a little deeper into the commissioner role, the welcome packet, because I think the welcome packet is a part of defining those responsibilities a little bit more deeply, explain the expectations, because we can't define the expectations of the commissioners unless we know the expectation of the commission.
Yep.
Does that sound fair to everybody?
Well said. No, that's
Yeah.
fine.
And then two, we can adjust what that looks like. I think once we have more details about what the commission legally can and cannot do, and what kind of are some of those things that we can adjust. Because again, if we can define like you need to attend at least six meetings.
Hold people accountable.
Yeah, and put that in the welcome packet, like this is part of the accountability, like you were declaring this.
Yeah, that's the expectation. Like if you can't do it, that's no worries.
Yeah.
Like it's totally okay. But like, yeah.
We understand life changes and
Absolutely.
maybe when you're appointed, because you're appointed for so many years.
Exactly.
If you know that something's coming up or something comes up and you can't do it, then you should be able to, you can resign very easily or even
That is a
inact it.
question. What does resignation look like from the commission?
What we would need to look
Okay.
into.
And renewal
And renewal, because
renewal and resignation.
Yeah.
Yeah, really just clearly defining some of those, like the commissioner's roles, not the commission, some of those commissioner roles, things as well. Because that will then dictate the welcome packet, the expectations, what are processes of like breaking those expectations, what does that look like? Because again, I think those are all part of the conversation of what we
And how
can
you
do.
see each of our positions, because you are the leader of
This is true, yeah.
of everything. How do you see the role playing? Even if you made a list and said, this is where I'm thinking that this person I'm hiring is going to do this, and this is what I'm expectations for you guys. because you basically are our boss
This
when
is
it
true,
comes
yeah.
down
The
to
mayor
it.
is, but-
So how,
Well,
but
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 I'm
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, but realistically,
yeah.
I think Lisa brings up a
Re-
good point.
what is it?
Like, because the art coordinator is underneath you.
Yeah.
In some ways, we are also underneath you. So what do you expect from us? What does that look like? And again, like how we all kind of fit in those things together.
Yeah.
And again, maybe we can,
You're
even
not
if,
expecting this by, Christmas either.
yeah, no. And also too, like, I think vague general, like, this is what I'm expecting. And then we can flesh out those details together.
Right. Got it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Quick random question. If we are appointed, some of us by the mayor and some of us by the common council, what happens when there's a change in the mayor?
That I think you're still good because
There's
that
so many years.
it's by the office of the mayor, not necessarily like
Yeah.
The mayor.
it's not like Ben Walsh picked you. kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, that's
what I was
yeah,
just
yeah.
thinking.
No,
Okay.
I mean because I understand that.
Because there's some positions that are like tied to the specific mayor person.
yes,
Those
This
are
is-
like jobs, not commission-like positions, but
yes.
yeah.
But yes, you should be. The term is still the term. So that's the thing is defining those terms for everybody. Because too, reminding because I don't know when my term.
I was
technically is.
just thinking that, when did I
Because we have
start?
random
We have
start
there.
dates.
I don't have I don't have it with me, and I don't want to be on my
Yeah, no,
phone.
no, it's fine.
There, two of the commissioners are up this month. There's two that their last month is now.
Really?
And so what would happen is the mayor's office would send a letter
Yes.
asking them would they want to renew their membership as a commissioner, and they would respond yay or nay, and then it would come before you all.
And then we would vote on it, or?
No,
I mean, if they quit, you can't vote. I mean,
Well,
they're
that's what I
done.
mean, but like, do they,
Yeah.
does
No,
our
I-
approval, do we have, is there like an?
no, we don't.
have
We
to
don't
do that.
approve it.
Okay.
It's the person itself either saying
Okay.
yes, I will, or no, I
Got
don't.
it,
And
okay.
if that's a no, that's something where we would then need to find. Another, yeah,
And
but
it's, unless there was a conflict, right? If you all were like, that person never shows up, and so we'll have to talk through
but yeah,
those.
but and
That
that's the
would
thing
be
is.
down to
Yeah.
you then making that decision or the
Well, we
mayor's
don't know.
office.
That's the thing.
No, I'm
Yeah.
saying that would be like her as the representative for the city, making that decision, saying, you know what, your time is up and I think we are,
I don't know if she can
don't
do that.
I don't
though.
think it
No,
can.
no,
would
by
be the
law.
question.
Because that's the question.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
because
with the appointing.
because if let's say like because technically I am appointed by the office of the mayor.
Right.
So does that mean Shaisha can then say no, you are not longer appointed? Does it then have to like? Can we vote on it? Does it have to go to council? Do I have to go to the mayor?
I'll
Or,
figure
like-
that
But that's
out.
the thing.
I'll get those
I think
answers
those are
for
the
next
How is
meeting.
it renewed?
Yeah, yep,
All right.
yep.
Especially if there is an issue with someone.
Because it probably would be the same as it would be for the planning board or the landmarks preservation board or,
Yep.
I just have never known what it is specifically.
Yeah, no, I think
Agreed.
that's the thing is we need
We'll
to
make sure we get specific. Also, like resignations, typically it's a letter. Like say you're like, I'm just tired, I can't make these meetings anymore. It's a letter, resigning from the board.
One last thing before we get a motion, because I do want to end this. We don't have a current vice chair. So just thinking about that, if you want to nominate someone, nominate yourself for that position. And again, I'll make if you can just let Devana, Elias, Takara, Blondine, and Sophia know, like, hey, we still do need a vice chair. So if anybody's interested, yeah, because I'd rather have someone want to step up. In that case, yeah. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Maggie, Lisa second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. Yay. I don't think that really counts either, but yeah.
No.
Either way,
Whatever.
I don't know. Open meeting laws are weird. All right.
Good job, Honey's first meeting, yay,
Yeah.
Honey.
If anyone's interested, the Valley's having a tree lighting on December 7th.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
If anyone's interested.